Hi, good day everybody and welcome. My name is Randy Stanbury, President of Service Freight, your transportation and third-party warehousing provider. We bring in this video series today, Conversations with Experts. The purpose of this series is to add as much value to your personal lives and your business lives as possible beyond what we do in transportation, the pickups, the deliveries, the storage, the distribution. Our purpose here is to bring impact to your lives, as every one of these experts have impacted my lives greatly in one way or another. I wish you nothing but success, happiness, and fulfillment in everything you do. Please enjoy. Thank you. Mr. Peter Diamandis is the best-selling author of his latest book, Abundance, along with being the chairman and CEO of the X Prize, which we'll talk about a little bit further, and of course Singularity University. He is a co-founder of that as well. Peter,
Randy,
welcome.
A pleasure to be here.
Yeah, thank you for taking the time to do this with us.
Sure.
Peter, tell us a little bit about X Prize, how it was started, how you were inspired, what inspired you to launch such an incredibly bold project.
Thank you. Well, we each have a dream. We each have sort of the big, bold ambitions, and some of us we keep it secret. Some of us talk about it out loud. Some of us make it our lives. And my dream since my childhood was always spaceflight. And awesome. I grew up, sort of inspired by Apollo and Star Trek. And what's that kid from the Bronx gonna, become an astronaut and all that? And I went and got a 6-pack of degrees from a bunch of universities, all with the goal of going to space. And then realized after a period of time that my chances of becoming a NASA astronaut were like really 1 in 1,000. The number of people who applied and your chances of getting in, and I wasn't a fighter pilot and all that stuff. And I read one day about Lindbergh that he crossed the Atlantic in 1927 to actually win a prize. And I started studying these kinds of incentive prizes where you have an ambitious goal, like in this case, first person to fly New York to Paris, which was an impossible feat. And you put up a prize and you say, hey, here's $25,000 for the first person to do this. And that $25,000 offered in 1919 drove 9 different teams to spend $400,000 to try and make that trip. And Lindbergh was the most unlikely guy to do it. But yet, because you only pay the winner, this $25,000 prize was won by Lindbergh when he made his flight from Roosevelt Field in New York to Le Bourget in France, and changed the world. And that inspired me. I said, wow, can I create a prize that would inspire a new generation of private spaceship manufacturers? Right? Because Boeing and Lockheed and all the aerospace players weren't making these. And I ended up coming up with the idea of creating a $10 million prize. $10 million was the purse for the first person who could build a spaceship that would take you and me and a pilot up into space, land, and then to prove it was reusable, do that flight again. It's 1996. I'm in St. Louis at the time. I went there because Lindbergh got his money there. I soft-circled $500,000. It was getting harder to raise that kind of money, and I said, I'm going to take a big chance. And I went up on stage under the arch in St. Louis and announced this $10 million prize without having the $10 million. And you know the story.
Which I love.
It's
awesome.
I took a big risk, and because doing anything bold in the world is risky. It's difficult. At some point, if it was easy, it would have been done already, and if it's safe, you're not probably the guy who's going to end up doing it. So I put up a $10 million prize. Conceptually, I had on stage with me 20 astronauts. I had the head of NASA, head of FAA standing there with me. They liked the vision of this. I wasn't lying about it. If anybody asked me, I'd say I didn't have the $10 million, but no one asked me, and so I had front page news around the world. Long story short, we ended up having 26 teams around the world from 7 countries enter this competition. It took me 5.5 years ultimately to find the person who's going to put up the money. All the likely guys, from Fred Smith, the head of FedEx, to Richard Branson, to 150 CEOs and CMOs I ventured to and asked, said no. They all were scared about the risk of people killing themselves. They were scared about, can anyone do this? Would it be a black eye on our brand? finally a family, the Ansari family, serial entrepreneurs themselves, had just built their last billion-dollar company, put up the $10 million. And it was won in 2004 by a fellow Burt Rutan in Mojave Desert, who built a private spaceship, beautiful spaceship called Spaceship One. It's now hanging in the Air and Space Museum right above the Apollo 11 capsule and next to the Spirit of St. Louis airplane that inspired it in the first place. It was a crazy story, and I guarantee you, I had people telling me it was impossible all the way till the end.
Amazing that you're able to pull that off, and then the boldness to go out and really put your balls on the line to make that happen is so inspiring to
me. Thank you, Randy.
And so today, the X Prize. Well, first of all, the flight happened.
The flight happened. It kicked off a brand new industry. Richard Branson came in and bought the rights to the winning technology. And now there's, hundreds, thousands of people who put deposits down. And we've launched a private spaceflight industry, a new, $1 billion industry out of that competition. And at the end of that, I said, wow, these prizes really work. And was able to recruit support to build the X Prize Foundation, the organization I run. And people interested, xprize.org is the website. We brought in an amazing group of trustees. I was able to get the CEO of Google, Larry Page, who's become a friend and a backer, James Cameron, the producer, Elon Musk, a number of great entrepreneurs to really join and help us create a vision of where we're going.
And Virgin Galactic is what's come out.
Yeah, Richard Branson's company for flying people into space. Now for $200,000 you can buy a ticket to go into space.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Frankly, from your vision, from your just determination to make that happen.
Thank you, Randy.
Through those years.
Thank you.
So where is X Prize today, and what is on the horizon? What are you working on currently?
Well, we're launching prizes in a wide range of areas, and we launch X Prizes, which are ambitious, objective goals to say the first person to accomplish this thing will win. And we design them. We look and see where there are market failures, where the future could be but isn't yet, and we launch them in education and global development, in life sciences and energy, in exploration. We've got a $30 million private race to the moon. We have 25 teams around the world building robots to land on the surface of the moon. We've just launched something called the Qualcomm Tricorder X Prize, build a handheld mobile device that a mom could use at 2 a.m. in the morning to diagnose her or her kids. Really it's about transforming the future of healthcare, getting ready to launch a global literacy X Prize. There are 880 million illiterate people on the planet. How do we create the technology that would allow kids to rapidly learn to read and write anywhere on the planet, in a fashion that doesn't require us to build schools and teach teachers? Can we use technology to really create a wave of literacy around the planet? So these are some of the areas that we're working in X Prize.
Amazing. Awesome stuff.
Thank you.
So some of this, quite frankly, to the everyday entrepreneur, to the executive, to the businessman, is a fairly massive and daunting project. The whole concept of this video series is to add value to our client base, our prospects, our carriers, and so how do we?
Which is really about what it's all about, right? It's all about knowledge. The right piece of knowledge that you get at the right time can be worth hundreds of millions of dollars to the right person.
Absolutely.
And having a knowledge about what's coming down the pike and allowing you to make that right decision. The way you think about something matters so much. If you're a CEO and you've got a positive attitude towards the future and you make the right investments, you're great. If you think the future is going to hell in a handbasket and you don't, you're sunk. I mean, the single most important thing that a CEO can do is ultimately educate themselves.
Yeah, it's putting ourselves in the right place, the right space, being involved with as much outside activity as we can to gain as much knowledge as we can. And I think getting ourselves connected to the right people is absolutely key.
Yeah.
So how do we bring in the competitive aspect, using competition in our own business to drive breakthroughs?
So, I talk about this, and you and I spent a few days together talking about this kind of thinking. And you can. I mean, companies can use competitions inside. It can be among their customers, among their employees, among their community. So you have to decide, first of all, what is your goal, right? What is the area you want? Do you want, to make your fleets more efficient if you're in the trucking business? Do you want to understand your customers' buying behavior if you're sort of in a distribution business? What's your goal that you want? If you're clear about what you're measuring, and you can set an objective goal, you can basically say, listen, the first person to achieve this goal wins. And I, talk about in my book Abundance, I talk about something called the 5-5-5 strategy, which is, imagine you might have 100 employees or 500 employees, and you say, listen, form into groups of 5 employees, and you get 5 weeks and $500 to try a bunch of experiments. And we're going to be measuring the employee that has the biggest impact, the team that has the biggest impact on a particular goal. If you know what you're measuring and what the goal you want impacted, and you allow enough teams to self-generate, and the teams are small enough where there's no management bureaucracy, the teams are able to form in diverse groups. Real breakthroughs come when you have diverse groups of people coming together. Absolutely. And it's not just all of your logistics people or all of your engineers or all of your salespeople. You mix up the teams so that they're across groups, across disciplines, across ages, across genders. Because innovation is really where you mix up the thinking and come up with something new. A lot of times companies sort of depend on their internal experts to do anything, and that's fine, except whether it's you or me or some group of experts, we only know how to think the way we think. Mm. And a real innovative way is a non-traditional thinking process. It comes out of right field. And so you need to have a new group of people looking at the problem in a new way to really have an innovation.
Agreed. Absolutely. If anybody wants to contact me directly, I'll give you my information at the end, but we use Peter's concept of competitive or a competition to drive some innovation in our organization, and frankly, it was one of the best things that I've done in years. It transformed our organization, it's brought us to new levels, and we have new focus, and it's brought the team together, frankly. That team gel is amazing, too.